Hello, everyone. My name is Sally Sargood, and I'm the Chief Video Officer at Animoto. For those of you who may not know, Animoto is a DIY video maker that makes it easy for anyone to create professional videos using ready-made templates and an easy drag and drop interface. I'd like to thank you all for joining for what's going to be a truly insightful webinar today. We've got the latest from LinkedIn and how to get results specifically with video. And who better to share these insights with us than Alison Resch. Alison is the Global Head of Content Partnerships at LinkedIn. Hi, Ali, and welcome.
Hi, Sally. It's so nice to be talking with you.
It's really great to have you here. Now, you've been at LinkedIn, I believe, for 7 years, and
Yeah.
I'm sure in that time you've seen a lot of changes and a lot of things grow too. Tell us a little bit about what you have seen in your time there.
Yes, I've seen a lot of changes. Actually, when I joined, LinkedIn sponsored content was really new, and we didn't even offer video yet. But I've also seen tremendous growth. I can remember celebrating when we hit our 400 millionth member on LinkedIn. And now there are over 850 million members on LinkedIn globally.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a lot of people.
Mhm.
Now, so on that, there's 850 million people on LinkedIn. Tell us a bit about those people. Who is on LinkedIn? And if I'm a business or I'm working for a company, is that the place for me? What other people are actually on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. Well, there are, people from all different types of organizations, from large global enterprises to small businesses and startups and entrepreneurs. In fact, I thought what was most interesting for this audience to know is that there are over 10 million small business owners and entrepreneurs on LinkedIn.
Wow. That is really good to know, actually, because I think a lot of time it's in people's, like, the perception is, oh, it's just for HR, or oh, it's just for big enterprise companies, or even it's sometimes people think it's just for B2B, but it sounds like it's a place for anyone that sort of wants to conduct business or network and that sort of thing. It's the right platform for that. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Companies come to LinkedIn or use LinkedIn for a variety of business reasons. They're on LinkedIn to create awareness of their brand and the products and services they offer. They're on LinkedIn to attract investors or potential business partners. And they're on LinkedIn to acquire and retain talent. They're also on LinkedIn to generate leads and acquire new customers for their business.
So lots of reasons to be
Lots
on
of reasons.
LinkedIn. So tell me, from your perspective, what would be one of the strengths specifically of LinkedIn?
Yeah, our biggest strength is trust. It's the trust that our members have on our platform. LinkedIn has been rated the most trusted social platform by eMarketer for the past 4 years. And it's this trust that makes our members' experience so valued. And it also creates a safe environment for brands to market.
That's a super important strength to have as well.
Yeah.
Trust, especially these days, seems to be key for what people are looking for when they're marketing their business. So I'm a business and I'm ready to get out there on LinkedIn. What's a good place for me to start?
Sure. We'll start with some kind of general recommendations, and then we'll talk a little bit specifically about video, since that is the focus of our conversation today. First and foremost, you want to make sure that your company's page is updated and complete. We also recommend posting organic content daily from your page. It's really the best way to attract new followers and engage your followers on a consistent basis. Another recommendation that we have is to add the LinkedIn follow button to your website. And this will help you drive more of your website visitors to follow your company on LinkedIn so that they can see all the incredible content that you're sharing.
Yeah, and followers are super important. So where does video fit into all of this?
Yes. Well, video is our fastest growing format on LinkedIn. And it's no surprise because video content drives nearly 40% higher engagement than static images.
Yeah.
A couple other stats on video performance. It is 5 times more likely than other content to start a conversation among members. I'm talking about, comments on video posts specifically. Also, our members are spending a lot more time consuming video content. They're spending 3 times more time consuming video content than static content on the platform.
Wow. So it really is definitely getting out there and getting across to your followers and getting the message across, which is great. And which is why even that first stat that it's driving a higher engagement, obviously the rest back that up. So let me ask you, you did say I need to be posting daily. Are you saying that I should be posting a video every day, or can I mix it up?
Yes, you can definitely mix it up. And that's something we recommend is testing different formats, sharing anything from articles to quotes to images to video content, anything that you feel like is going to drive engagement from your audience. So we'll talk a little bit about all the types of content that perform really well on LinkedIn, and that I think that'll spark some ideas. I know it can seem really daunting to think like, oh, I have to go from nothing to posting daily, but there are a lot of different things that we would consider content that you probably already have today that's perfect for sharing on LinkedIn. You might just not be thinking about it as a type of content that's relevant for our platform.
Yeah, which is exactly why we've got you here today. And to that, like, I guess you would even balance it up by sort of saying, the most important content that you really want to connect with your audience is what should be the video, correct? Because if that has the more power to get the message across, and if people are really, engaging with that, posting daily, you can sort of, like you said, maybe link to articles very quickly to keep that going along, but the very important things. And, with a tool like Animoto, making video doesn't have to be daunting either. So even the prospect of, creating potentially 5 videos a week wouldn't be that hard. But I do know a lot of the time too, people get sort of content fatigue. They're like, what do I create? I'm not really sure what video to make. I've made 10 videos in the last month and I'm running out of ideas. So, what would you suggest? Like, what works and what types of videos can people be creating on LinkedIn?
Sure. Well, the good news is there's a lot of different types of video content that's effective at driving engagement on LinkedIn. So brands have a lot of different options to choose from. I'll kind of summarize the top types of video content first, and then we can kind of go into each one in a bit more detail. And I've got some examples to share as well. But thought leadership content is really effective on our platform. Content that promotes a company's culture, customer stories or testimonials, content that showcases a company's products or services or demos products, and finally, event promotion, whether that's event content to drive registrations or showcase key takeaways from an event. All those types of content perform really well on the platform.
Yeah, which is great to know, because I mean, it's one thing to get ideas for content, but content that performs well, that's really what we're all looking for. So like you said, we can potentially dive into these a little bit more. So a thought leadership video, tell us what that looks like. How do I start with that? What story am I telling in a thought leadership video?
Sure. Maybe I'll start with what is thought leadership. And it's when either a company or an individual at that company, and it's typically a company's executives, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anybody in your organization who has a unique point of view to share. It's when they share perspectives on a topic that matters to your audience. And often topics are trends or innovations shaping their industry. It could be new regulations that are impacting their business, or macro societal issues like climate change or diversity, equity, and inclusion. And why this type of content, thought leadership, is so important is LinkedIn recently conducted a study with the research firm Work and Cannes Lions and found that the most effective marketers on LinkedIn are investing in long-term brand building campaigns that make an emotional connection with their audience. And this type of thought leadership content does a really good job of making that emotional connection.
That definitely matters. I think that, it's also, I think, part of the trust that you mentioned too, but with a business, not necessarily. Like, if you make that emotional connection, you tend to sort of have that trust within the business, and you feel like there is something that connects you. And again, our video is the best way to also show those emotional stories as well. So I can see how the two connect there. You mentioned we've got an example. I think we can play that now and can take a look.
To those much is given, much is required. At EY, we are proud of our commitment to our clients, our people, and our communities. Our goal is to positively impact 250 million lives by 2025. And to do that, we have a lot of great work ahead of us to empower the next generation, to advance environmental sustainability, and to empower impact entrepreneurs. Are you ready to start a ripple that creates a wave of change? Join us.
Okay, so you also mentioned company culture videos. Can you expand on that for us a little bit as well?
Sure. So this is a type of content that companies share to attract talent as well as investors and business partners. Our members love to see an authentic behind the scenes view of what it's like to work for or do business with a particular company. We also see a lot of really inspiring content being shared during key cultural moments. So if you go on LinkedIn today, you'll likely see some incredible stories being posted about Hispanic Heritage Month. And we've got an example from the firm Anderson for that, and then another example from the real estate firm Compass.
Coming to Compass really has allowed me to expand my network, polish my presentation, be part of a much larger family that I'm really proud of.
I just love the brand. I love what they have to offer.
Compass makes this back office right there for you and much easier to navigate.
My clients know that I can help them here in the state of Florida, and I can also help them across the nation. With all the top agents that we have, I'm able to refer them in that direction.
Just to have that name behind me and the work that I do and the work that I'm already so confident in, I know it's just gonna take my business to the next level.
The moment we have a question, we have someone immediately that answers any questions we have, that is available for us, and that offers us at least an hour or two a week to train us on everything that's new that Compass is offering.
This is Compass.
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 Awesome. That's amazing. It's really great to see these examples, because it's one thing to hear about it, but when you see it in real life sort of playing out, it really starts to resonate. So you also mentioned customer stories. Tell us a little bit about customer stories as a video.
Sure. So one of the most authentic ways to get noticed is to promote customer testimonials. According to a 2021 Qualtrics survey, 91% of customers read reviews before they make a purchase. And for customer stories, you can either feature your customer talking about how they've benefited from your product or service, on camera. And if you take that approach, our recommendation is for the customer to be as specific as possible about the business impact, so it feels authentic. But we know that's not always an option. It's not always possible to get your customers to be willing to talk on camera. And that's okay. Another, easier lift is to take your customer reviews or quotes directly from your customers and put them together in sort of a montage style video. And you can kind of check your app mentions on social or review sites to find those reviews. You're obviously going to want to get permission from any of your customers before you feature their quotes. But that's just, a little easier way to showcase some of the customer testimonials about your brand.
Hi, I might have left something at your hotel.
Let me get you over to our lost and found department. What does it look like?
It's a ball. Made of crystal?
Ooh.
You have the gift.
Absolutely. And that's actually always been one of my favorites because I keep saying people struggle to come up with content, but going to your reviews and just literally cutting and pasting some of your best reviews is often sometimes one of the easiest way to make a video. But yet the impact of that video gives you that credibility and validation for new customers that you're looking for. So it's a win-win all around, I think.
Yep, that's
That's
exactly
for
right.
sure. I think another one too, you mentioned products, showcasing your product. Is that right? As another example?
Yes, exactly. So, bringing your products to life or your services to life with a demo or a how-to explainer video, or even just kind of providing a deeper look at the innovations behind what you offer is really compelling content on LinkedIn. And, personally, one of the most interesting examples to me is what Caterpillar does, where they showcase the strength of their machines in really fun and unexpected ways in their cat trials campaign. So we've got an example of that video to share.
Gather around. I want to tell you a story. Good night, construction site. Down in the big construction site, the tough trucks work with all their might to build a building, make a road, to get the job done, load by load. Working hard to help his team, crane truck raises one more beam. Spinning, churning all day long. Cement mixer sings his whirly song. Dump truck loves to work and haul. It carries loads both big and small. Pushing with her mighty blade, bulldozer works to smooth the grade. She clears the way to level ground and fills the air with thunderous sound. Roar!
Okay, that was amazing. I really love that one. I see exactly what you're talking about with showcasing that. So I think the last one was event promotion. Can you talk to us a little bit further about that?
Sure. So companies promote events in a couple of different ways on LinkedIn. They'll use LinkedIn to promote an event that they're hosting to drive registrations. And video content to drive registrations can include things like, featuring speakers for that event. I would imagine that many of you have discovered this webinar today from an event promotion video run by Animoto. You can also feature kind of a highlight reel from previous events or a combination of, clips from previous events and still images. And that really helps kind of tease some of the content that potential attendees will experience if they attend the event. Another type of event content that's really popular are event recap videos. And this is where companies share kind of a highlight reel of the key takeaways or the insights that they've gained at an event. And sometimes they do this, for their own events that they've hosted. But they're often also doing this for industry events that they attended and want to share some of the key takeaways that were most important to them.
Cool. That was another great example there. I think too, as you were talking about events, promotion and event recaps, specifically the recaps, I know, pre-COVID days, you were always reliant on a photographer being at the event or having, someone there to video it, then getting the footage. But I guess now with so many things being held online, even again, like what we're doing now, but events now being virtual online, you've got access to that footage like immediately. And it's so easy to take away those highlights and create something straight away. So again, I think that's a great and very easy way to start creating content.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now that we know what to make, again, I'm only going through the questions in my head that I hear all the time. And a lot of the time, the technicalities can also be blockers as to creating videos, because it's like, well, what's the aspect ratio? How long should it be? How long should it be is one of the most asked questions that we get. So can you take us through some of those best practices? So we're ready, we know what we're going to create. Can you take us through the best practices as to how to actually create those?
Yes, absolutely. So there are some specific best practices that apply regardless of the type of video content you're sharing. So I'll kind of go through those. I would say first and foremost is to make sure that your video is built to our specs. In terms of aspect ratio, we recommend vertical aspect ratio. And in terms of length, it really varies by objective. We say that for awareness objectives, anything 30 seconds or under is recommended. And about 15 seconds seems to be the sweet spot for most brands. But you always want to test video lengths, even for awareness campaigns. For direct response oriented campaigns, we've seen longer form video perform just as well as short form. So again, you want to test different lengths, but as a general rule, if it's awareness driving, 30 seconds and under, longer form works well for direct response. There's a few other key best practices that you want to keep in mind. So first, you want to make sure that your video content is visually interesting. Kind of going back to what we were talking about, event capture and capturing content from potentially a Zoom call or a virtual event. You can do things like incorporating graphics, including a combination of video capture and still images, maybe using supers on screen just to create a little bit of more visual intrigue. Another thing that's really important, Sally, is to consider adding subtitles to your video, or at least supers to reinforce what's being said, because 80% of our members watch video with the sound off. You also wanted to test including your logo in videos, and that will help you ensure our members know whose content they're watching. And then, last but not least, you really want to A/B test different elements of your video post. So we talked a little bit about testing lengths, testing featuring your logo, but you also can test things like your intro text, call to action. Our own LinkedIn marketing team, for example, has found that the call to action, download the guide, consistently outperforms download the ebook. And so you want to really test all the different elements of your video post to see what's making the most impact on performance.
Yeah, I love that. When the data tells you what works, I mean, there's no doubting the data. So it's always great to get those insights to understand that specifically. And I think too, we find a lot of Animoto users, because it's very easy to duplicate your video and change that one block, to change the logo block or to change the CTA. I know we've done tests in the past where we even introed like the first block in your video, the very first thing that came up, we test that out to see what's actually grabbing attention, so that we know for sure moving forward without just making assumptions. So it's very easy to make those changes when you're using Animoto or a template or something like that we have, which is great. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I think that's one of the most exciting things about our partnership with Animoto is, how that we've worked together to create video templates that are optimized to our specs and our best practices. And we've got templates to help you produce all the different types of content we're discussing today.
Yeah, it is. And especially like these use cases as well. It's like, it's all there. We've got narratives there. We've got different transitions, but it's super easy to make it your own by adding your brand colors, adding your logo, changing the narrative to suit you, and making it specifically your own. So the template is that great starting point to get you going, but to have your best practices built into those, I think is definitely priceless, and again makes it much easier for people to start making videos daily on LinkedIn.
That's right.
But I'm sure this has been helpful for so many people. We do have a question box there. Hopefully everyone's seen that and they've been asking questions along the way. We will be putting some links in there as well that we can link out to resources too. So there's lots going on there as well. So all of this, like I said, has been super insightful and helped me, and I'm ready to start actually posting more on LinkedIn. What's the next steps for me? Like, what would your advice be now? I take all of this information, and sometimes we can take this information and still be overwhelmed by it. So what would you say to anybody listening to this as they sort of, close down their computer and they're all motivated to get started? So what would you do first?
Yeah, so I would start thinking about what content you already own, that you already have at your disposal that you can start publishing now. And like I said, test different elements of it. Perhaps you've got a customer testimonial or a review on a review site that you want to use. Perhaps you've got some footage from an event that took place last month. Maybe your executive spoke at a leadership conference. Maybe you've got some great images of a company event that your employees just took part in. There's a lot of different things that you probably already have at your disposal that could make for really impactful content on LinkedIn. So just, keep our best practices in mind. You want to make an emotional connection with your audience. So if you kind of come across a piece of content, a quote, an inspiring video clip, something that kind of has, and conveys emotion, elicits that kind of positive response, like that's the kind of content that you want to share on the platform. And again, it doesn't always have to be expertly produced. It could be something just captured on your phone.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually, is like, you can have all of it there at your disposal. Should I be shooting for it? So you've just answered that. So my phone is okay?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a misconception that a lot of companies have, that they have to have really high production quality video for the platform. But there's authenticity with sharing content that's just kind of captured on your phone in a really in the moment kind of way. LinkedIn's own COO, Dan Shapiro, frequently shares video content that he's captured on his iPhone. And that works for brands, it works for individuals. So we've got an example to share, if helpful, but that's something we definitely recommend doing.
Yeah, it's good to hear. And to that, I mean, I also hear from people, not everyone likes to be on camera. Not everyone feels confident even shooting with the iPhone. Can I use stock? Is it okay if I just find the relevant stock footage that we've got? I know at Animoto, we've got over 100 million stock images and video clips within Animoto. Can I use them? Is that going to lose any of that authenticity if I actually use stock instead of actually shooting something myself?
I think it depends on what stock images, you're finding. I think, again, because it's LinkedIn and it's a professional network, people tend to think that they need stock images featuring people in a corporate setting, but more lifestyle oriented images, or at least more images that feel like an authentic glimpse of, what it's like to work for your company, or showing your customers kind of in a natural environment and setting. As long as it feels kind of true to your brand, true to your audience, then stock is completely fine. Mm-hmm. It's just making sure it doesn't feel like the same type of boring business stock images that you see kind of again and again from companies.
Yeah. Even as you were saying that, I was thinking like there's different ways of even portraying your company brand or your culture. And it doesn't always mean that you have to show the people at the company. You can show culture through humor even. And, you could find the appropriate stock to match the story that you're telling to sort of get that personality, I guess, across, rather than just sort of stale stuff. And again, there's so much stock there to choose from. I'm sure that would be, something that everyone could do as well.
Yeah, I think I would err towards the side of authenticity versus perfection.
Yeah.
You don't need something highly polished. You need something that makes you appear genuine and authentic on the platform.
Yeah, perfect. And again, I think that's where LinkedIn and Animoto fit in so well, because as a DIY video maker, not that it's not polished, they're very professional looking videos, but it makes it literally, you can take it from your phone straight into Animoto. You don't need to have editing skills to, choose the transitions or do any of these things with it. And it makes the content itself, I think, shine out even more. So,
and even to that end, Sally, too, video on LinkedIn doesn't have to feature a person speaking on camera. It could also be, a montage style of quotes, still images, video clips, just something that creates that visual intrigue we talked about. So you don't have to think about video as, live action footage.
Yeah. And again, especially too, we go back to that posting daily thing. And initially, my reaction was that could be overwhelming for many. But even to hear you say that, like, I know that a quote, yes, you could just sort of post it as a still, but you can also just choose an image and have the text animate over the quote. And that would take you, I'm going to say, 3 minutes to make. And posting that sort of thing just gives it, again, that added visual. It can capture people in the feed because it looks a little bit different. It's not still. And they don't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a production, and it doesn't have to be, a fully edited piece that's long. Even 30 seconds. It doesn't even have to be 30 seconds.
No, that's right.
Yeah. There's so much that we can do.
Yeah. The key is to try to capture someone's attention in the feed as they're scrolling. And so sometimes just having something animate like text on screen is enough to do so, especially if you've got a really compelling quote to share.
Yeah. No, for sure. I can't help but think, like, all of this now is just been like so helpful, and I'm ready just to like end it because we need to go and make videos. would that be awful? But I will ask, first of all, is there anything else that you've got to add? There've been so many amazing tips here already that's what's got me super excited. Is like, okay, I need to go and make a video now. But is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
I think I'll just start with a call to action and then also share that we've got some really helpful resources on LinkedIn, and we'll share as a follow-up some links to those. We've got a customer success hub. We've got a small business guide to company pages, and publishing on LinkedIn. So we'll share a bunch of resources afterward. But I guess the call to action, the recommendation is just get started.
Yeah.
To start posting what you have, test as much as you can, learn what works, and you can just evolve it over time. But again, don't aim for perfection, aim for authenticity.
Yeah. Great advice. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us today. It's been really great having you. And we will actually, those links that you've got, will appear in the comment box up there. We can link to that, and people can access that while they're watching the webinar. And again, any questions come through, we'll actually answer the questions via email. But Ali, thank you again for your time. It has been so amazing. Hopefully we can actually expand more on some video on LinkedIn in the future, and we can see you all again soon.
I love that. Thanks, Sally.
Take care.